Okay, my friend. So here I'm now recording and I'm going to make that available online. So this is for your PESTLE analysis, which is your assignment. And when you open the PowerPoint, of course, the very first one, I'm just going to show this to you. It's going to tell you, of course, there's different steps. So first you brainstorm all possible environment factors, then you identify the potential opportunities, then you use the provided PESTLE 3 structure, etc., etc. And why we do that? As I mentioned before, we are looking into a business, we're looking into a question, and we are going to use this tool that will give us step-by-step strategy in order to look better, much more into detail about that business. Why? Because at the very end, we would like to do an analysis of the business. Why? That's because when we are doing research, we can, of course, we do get ideas, we have questions, we have tools, we use the tools in order to get the data or information, of course. Then we learn that information that becomes knowledge, and then we have to provide this knowledge or this analysis, which is a knowledge to me, to different people, different stakeholders. So communication is also key. But first of all, let's look into the PESTLE analysis that we have as our assignment. So I'm going to go to the first one. The first, or let's start number 2. This is a mind map. I'm sure you already had that. Usually for starting a business or even for looking into any question again, now I'm applying it to business, of course, but it may be any question, any task, we can think, and you think, of course. However, you can also think and write it down. Perfect. You can now use bullet points, number 1, 2, 3, or you can also use a 3, like this one, which is much easier because then you are visualizing what you know. And here, what is good is that you do know what you know, and you can also realize what you don't know or what you didn't take into consideration when looking into a question. So now the PESTLE analysis again is I would say, is a straightforward way of doing some analysis. So here we look into technology, into legal, into environmental, social, economic, and political factors. So now you can look into any of the branches, and you may say now for the political factors regarding the business, regarding maybe you're writing a policy, okay? So for here as well, maybe you're looking into writing a regulation, maybe a law as well. You can now look into political, for example. So you say, okay, do we have any political stability? Then we are going to look into the trends or looking into the statistics about the political stability in different sources. Then we look into, okay, for the job, for the business that we are doing, for example, for cannabis, okay, is it again, is there a level of corruption, for example? Do we have any issue with organized crime level? Do we have any issue with legislation? Okay, any legislative changes for cannabis regulation? Any trade law and regulations that will change? Okay, labor laws and policy, because when you're going to produce cannabis, obviously we are going to have a labor as well. Then corporate social responsibilities. Here, we talk about this in the previous courses. It may be again advertisement, or I mean, I would say you explain that, you communicate that through advertisement or through publicities. And of course, your responsibility is not just again making money and to expand. It's also responsibility toward the environment, the society as well, the government as well, and your employees. And then tariffs and taxations laws, because they will also affect your business. So you see, just by looking into, if I can click, I can click on, okay, just on by looking into the political, you saw so many different points that you can look at when you are trying to do some analysis. It's very interesting. Okay, now same thing for economics. So here I'm going to open. No, look. I'm going to choose the Scotia Bank because that was very interesting. This was mainly regarding again customer satisfaction, customer surveys, and attracting more customers. That was one of the jobs. So you had to do to use the trends and then to come up with plans in order to attract customers. Very, very interesting. So here we can talk about, of course, economic as well, looking into economic stability, questioning, looking into data that we may have, or information about market conditions, about the unemployment rate. We talked about it this morning in Canada. Retirement age, that changes as well. Even number of hours that we are working per week. In Europe, in France, it was, I think, 38 hours per week. It's changed to 37, 46, and recently it became 35 hours per week that people are working. So these are all factors that will affect the economy as well. First of all, at the level of the employer, because when you're having people who are who are working more, obviously they're going to be more productive, obviously. Okay. And then in this case, now we are going to pay more for getting less productivity. However, we are going to have happier employees, hoping to have happier employees. And then, so you see, these are different factors, okay, that can go back and forth. It's not easy to talk about this now because it will depend on other factors as well. Okay, so when we look into the economic factors as well, we may see that, okay, people are going to work for 35 hours um, per week. However, the inflation is going to be higher. In this case, they may tend to have a second job. And in this case, if you have a second job, you're going to have less jobs for those who don't even have a first job. And then you're going to see these people getting more money. So inflation may go up while the unemployment rate is going to be again lower. No, that's it. No, higher. Sorry, that's it. So employment rate is going to be higher. So we have less people being able to work because many people, they're having two jobs because we have more time to do that. Okay, so these are all different types of, again, arguments, factors, discussions that you will have. And again, I'm just giving you an example. The aim is not to say that we don't know anything, because I'm just giving you examples, and then I don't, I would say, I don't conclude. Okay, I don't do it on purpose, but I'm just giving you examples because I'm explaining this. But if you had to look into one case, then you would have to look into this political, economic, social, technology, legal, and environmental factors that will affect the way that you're going to look into to the results, to the trends, and then to explain that and to do your analysis, my friends. Perfect. So I think that this is okay for now. I would just want to explain this for you. Now, this one. Okay, now this is again same thing. Now we are talking about potential opportunities, potential threats. No, now you see that we are looking into the application of SWOT into PESTLE. Okay, so now for the SWOT, we talk about strengths, of course, again, weaknesses. We talk about opportunities and threats. So the second level, after, of course, looking into the mind map here, is for you to apply this, or to use this slide as your glasses, and then to look at the question or your business on the other side of this mind map. And now you are going to look into your business or your question based on these threats and opportunities that you found out from the very first slide. Okay, now you say, okay, for the economics, okay, this is important for us for this question to look into the economic stability. Then we also need to have a government stability. So maybe if the elections, for example, now in Canada is around in June, maybe since our business is related to the government stability as well, and we don't know yet how liberals or maybe conservatives or maybe maybe a Green Party is going to have a prime minister, for example, we don't know. They may have different ways of again, of distributing money to different provinces, to different individuals, again, through different institutions. Because this is what happens when we have, again, government changes. These are changes in priorities for the government. Usually we have, I mean, you can see in the past as well, you always have an era with the government that is expanding and expanding, and then we are going to have more and more, I would say, debts, but we are expanding as well. And then you do have another more, I'm not going to give the name because I don't want to, again, use the party's name, but they are going to be, I have to, these are not that these are conservative party. I don't talk about conservative party, not at all. I don't talk about politics here at all. I'm talking about being conservative in life. So we do have, I would say, politicians or groups or parties who believe that, yes, we have to stick with what we have. We have to be much more protectionist. And this is how you will see always again, different eras I would say in the economic, of course, economy of any country. In Canada, this is what happens. You always have a group that comes, expanding, etc., and you have another group that will come and they are going to protecting, and it goes on and on and on. Now, again, depends on the mandate. Sometimes they have 4 years, sometimes again 8 years, depending on the legislation. But this is what we see overall. Overall, of course. So government stability as well. So, for example, if you want to open a university, for example, it's not a time to look into that because you have to wait until June to see which government is coming and to what extent the government is going to plan to invest in maybe more universities. And then you can now look into writing your business plan and looking into how you can open a university. This is one example. Then we can look into the technological change rate, e-commerce trends, social media trends as well. These are all different again, I would say aspects. Now for the social media trends, you know that Facebook yesterday, they lost about 25% of their revenue, I would say, or no, the value of their shares or the market share. So these are changes that happen. Amazon, it was going up. But again, you will see this all the time again. You will see that when you look into a stock market, it's not just a value of the of the corporation. It's also for some people it's like a gambling as well, and it's also very psychological. So we are looking into not individual psychology or behavior, but we look into a social behavior, and the role of the social media here is extremely important because you do have always people who say, for example, buy gold, 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 and then you see that 2 weeks after, or 2 days sometimes after, goes down, and then when gold goes down, people they sell, and again the same people who were saying, okay, buy gold, now they say that they're going to buy the gold at a lower rate, and then again the same circle is repeating, not just for the gold, for Bitcoin, for many things, but those wheels that are turning and they impose to us some highs and lows, they don't have the same frequency of movement. This is why you don't see that all the time. And you know, you have so many different shares and you have so many different, I would say, social behavior, different types of information. And again, this is, again, I don't want to go into detail because it will go on to, we can talk about 1 month about that. But this is, again, another thing, which is the technology. Then legal, international, national standards. Same thing if you're looking into having a pharmaceutical company or, again, making a new drug. Obviously, you have to look into, again, political, economic, social, technology, legal as well for the patents, for, again, having some certifications, having some, again, being in compliance, looking into ISO 9001, which is Total Quality Management System, for example. You have to have a certification for that. So these are all different things that you have to look at, not only for the opportunities and threats, but also for the impact that they have on your business or on your question. It may be, again, political impact, it may be social impact, you see, it may be economic impact. So when you look into this mind map, you can use it as a type of the new glasses so that you can see it through and you can now analyze a question in front of you. But you can also look into your own potential opportunities and threats that you may encounter. So this type of mind map is both ways. So you can put them again in front of your eyes, you can see through, but you can also use its reflection on your own business as well. You see, that's why the PESTLE analysis is very interesting. This is not something, again, difficult to understand, of course. No, this is a little, I mean, it's much more detailed than SWOT analysis. And we also apply SWOT into these different factors, and it gives us a very good, I would say it's a good tool to me. I mean, this is a good tool. You may, of course, find different topics or for different fields as well. Why not add it into your own, I would say, your tool? It's okay. So here, for example, we are looking into another business. Look, we are now getting much more into details. Okay, this is slide number 4, I think, yes. And here we are looking into a business, and then we are looking into different threats, opportunities as well. So no, the internet is one. We have to look into commercial databases. We have to look into government databases, looking into journals and newspapers, and then looking into internal databases, professional colleagues, etc., etc. Now yet that you understand well about this, the mind map, and you're changing the mindset that you are using in order to look into a question. So you see to what depth you have to look at that. You're going to talk about the summary of steps 1, 2, and 3. So here, if you are looking into a business, of course, choosing a business, you are going to talk about the political factors that are involved in the starting, for example, of your business. It may be expansion of your business, but here, starting a business. Then you are going to write down about what are the political opportunities and threats. I gave you an example of starting a cannabis. Then I gave you a company. Then I talked about an example of a pharmaceutical company. I also gave you an example of a bank, and then a university. So okay, there are so many different I would say examples that we can use. And here you can talk about political. Then you say potential opportunities and threats. You have to use, of course, here in slide number 3, you have the potential opportunities and threats. So I am giving you, or no, I am asking you to choose yourself a topic, so a business case, a business idea, and then to use this tool in order to do the analysis of the business. Okay, you may ask why. The why is that wherever you go, to any business you go, and these businesses are going to hire you anyways, you will have definitely to deal with these different factors anyways. Now, sometimes you may say, you know what, can you please look into, I would say the culture, just cultural barriers for this product, or cultural barriers for people to come and join, to get our services. Sometimes we may ask you to look into the age distribution, for example. So who are our clients and what are their age, what is the age distribution? Okay, perfect. Now, if you would like to get more responsibilities and become, of course, a decider, in this case, you will need to be able to look into different reports that are being made by different analysts, so that you would see at these three in an entire picture, as a big picture. And this is how in companies we decide. We look into different factors. We use these type of tools. Now you can call it PESTLE analysis. You can call it anything you would like to, but this is what we do. We look into different dimension of a business. And when you start, of course, at the beginning, we just give you one report to write, one trend. We tell you this is a trend, please give us a report, write a paragraph. Okay. But gradually you're going to learn about their business. And then you are going to be able to go much more into depth for different types of information. Then you are going to use or make the trends, or look at the trends to do the analysis. And based on the analysis, you are going to make plans, strategic plans, in order for the company to grow, to expand, to have more headquarters in other parts of the world, to provide the best services to much more people, to earn again more money, and then now to produce more systems, so more products and services, and then to expand again, because the management of that company is doing very well. They have a very efficient strategic management. And as long as that company is able to manage the quality and the efficacy and the safety of the products, and of course the services, why not allowing them to, I would say, no, why not? They will survive, and they will grow because of the management. This is why you do have companies that are there for 120 years, because of the management, and they're expanding to some extent. Sometimes they don't. This is their strategic management anyways. And why they don't expand, that's because maybe there's no market anymore. Maybe the market is limited. Why they don't expand, maybe because of the legislations. The government doesn't give them more I would say authorities, or there are not too many laws allowing them to expand their business. Okay, this is where they look into the potential opportunities and threats. So now you understand very well that this PESTLE analysis is giving you the big picture. Now, obviously, this is difficult. I know the assignment is difficult, but you are here to learn, my friends. So please do this well, choose the right business, and use the tool. Now you go to slide number 5. This is where you start looking into your own business or any business, and then you're going to talk about, all right, different factors: political, economic, social, technological, legal, environment. You talk about, or you write, okay, don't need to put, again, 2 books for each of these boxes. You write down potential opportunities and threats, and then where did you get those information? This is going to allow you to write, if you are asked in any company, any ministry, anywhere. This will allow you to write an in-depth analysis for any question. That's why. This is how you will become those strategic managers, those strategic planners. Not now, maybe now, why not? But usually in the next few years, you will be able to, if you use this type of vision, I would say, or using this type of tools, it will allow you to really look into everything in depth and then to be able to conclude, to do the analysis, and then to communicate. This is important. Okay, then after that, okay, these are the questionnaires. So now you are going to have your political factors, for example, like for, I would say, the factor is that in Canada, we have an election in June. Okay, the question is, if you're having a university, the question would be, okay, if the government stays liberal, do we have any chance to get funded by the liberal government, since they have, again, they have the history of funding for more universities than other parties? So this is the question. So you write it down. Okay, I'm not asking you to write again a book. Just write down different factors, different questions. Now for the economic as well, you may say, okay, now if the question is, for example, if we are, again, same thing for pharmaceuticals this time. If you are dealing with a pharmaceutical company, for the economics would be, okay, the factor is the buying power. Okay, so can people afford buying that product? And then you are going to question, can they buy, based on the fact that we saw that the price of cars went 30% higher during the COVID. However, the price of pharmaceuticals went, I think it's minus 1.6% in average. Is it, I would say, viable or valid decision in order to come up with a new product at this time in the market? Okay, at the end, PEST analysis, you may say, okay, politically it's perfect. Economically, no, it's not very favorable. You may have some 20% chance of errors or maybe failure. For the social, the people are ready for that. Technologically, yes, we do have the technology for making that product, that drug. Legally, yes, we know we are going to deal with Health Canada, and we know that we are going to make a new drug submission, submit that to Health Canada. They are going to, again, approve that in 365 days, and then we'll be able to market that to the society, where in next year or 2 years, when we'll be on the market, the recession will be ended. We believe for the political factors, for example, we will still have the government that will be again in place in June in 2 years as well. So at the end, your analysis, of course, and would be this, and then the way that we are going to discuss that will be that, okay, so we are going to wait for the government to change or to stay, we don't know, because we would like to remove that factor from the way that we are strategizing, I would say, our decisions. And then for the economics, we are going to wait another 2 years. We know that based on what's happening now, maybe in a year or two, we are going to still have a recession, very, very light one, but still a recession. In this case, it may again not allow everyone or patients to buy or tend to buy our product. So we may, because of this, we do know what's happening about political, economic, social, etc. But we are going to decide, and this is going to be the upper management, they're going to decide that, okay, this drug is perfect, we already have the patent, we can also go put it on the market, but we do have already existing drugs, our competitors as well. If we go on the market now, we may make some money, but this is going to be much more risky compared with the efforts and the money that we're going to make. So we are going to put a hold on this project for a new drug that's already have, again, we already have drugs in the market. We put a hold on that. We will review this next year, and we are going to review and update the PESTLE analysis in order to see if it's still worth to launch that drug in the market. If not, we don't launch the drug in the market. Okay, so this is how it works. Now that was for the pharmaceutical field. It can be for a bank. They also have products, or they have our products and services. Okay, oh, I have a good question. Divya, let me see, can it be a business? Oh, yes, of course. Yes, of course. I'm going to respond to your questions in the chat if you don't mind. Okay, let me continue with this. But yes, but write down your questions, please. So After this data collection plan, now you are going to talk about the factors. I told you for the political factors, you are going to look into, okay, you're going to look into how many people think that you're going to vote for liberal or for greens or for or whites, for pinks or for, I don't know, blue people. I'm talking about the political ideas. Not trying not to I can give you names. And then what you're going to look into, for example, Statistics Canada. I'm sure that they have some surveys. If not, you have to find it because this is your job. Your job as a research analyst is to look into, again, where you can get the adequate data and then to be able to do the analysis. And of course, then who, and again, who is going to do this, of course, or who is going to be again in charge. For the who, if you have any issue with this, you can leave it. It's okay to me, but I want you to go over the data collection plan. We use it in a corporation. So this is like a Microsoft project, or project, I would say, Gantt chart, where we have the tasks, and then we also have the deadlines. Here, you're talking about the factors and what, and then also who is going to deal with that. Okay, so if you don't have anyone, you can leave them blank. It's okay to me. I'm giving you a tool that's being used by corporations. Okay, so sometimes you may not have a lot of factors, but you do your best to put at least one or two factors in each of these boxes. Okay, for the who, okay, I don't care, don't put anything, but for the factors or what you are going to collect, do the job. Okay, don't forget that you imagine that you are in a corporation, you are working, you are being paid, you are working, it's serious, you have a family, and you have responsibilities, and at the same time you want to again excel in your job. So do these exercises in the best way possible, and then use this exercise that I'm giving you here as a proof of your, I would say, of experience that you have with PESTLE, and use it in your portfolio. Okay, again, Khadija and Nicola are going to tell you what is a portfolio, but you can use these examples that I'm giving you in class, your assignments, and show that you did already, again, I would say, you did these exercises, and it will help you to show to the interviewers that yes, you have been exposed, you know what is up, you know how to use the tool. So if you can use the tool, you can use it for any topic around you. Okay, any question? Perfect. Then for slide number 8, research and data collection. Here you are going to do some, of course, do some research from the beginning, okay, what you are going to collect, and then you do some collections. And now you are going to write about the factors, critical factors, and what is the data collection outcome. So you're going to look into, for example, again, for politics, you're going to look into, I gave you the example of liberals, we're going to have an election in June. So you're going to see, for example, in June. So we're going to look into whether or not we have been asking again questions from the population if we are going to, if I mean they are going to vote for which party. Okay, so you can now put the outcomes here, because this is important, because here you did your research, you also have the outcome results of your research from different sources. So here we will be able to conclude because this is now uh, the analysis that is starting. So from here, this is an data collection outcome. So here we have the factors, the topics. Here we have then the outcome, now or the trends or anything, the results of the research. And this one is the analysis, where for the factors, again, change in government, we have to write down what are the opportunities and threats. Again, don't write a book here. You can just put in bullet points things that make sense. Okay, and then if you think that you would like to give some comments or some information, you can put those here. And then this one is very interesting. This is the analysis, your finding. This is where you are going to present. You're going to tell us about a business, any business. You choose that, and then you are going to say, okay, now these are the data analysis that we found. For the politics, based on what we learned, based on the previous year slide, we have the fact that we have to wait for the government change or not, but we have to see what's happening. For the economics, we have an issue with the recession that is, on and off, but it's not yet, we are not very sure about how this is going to, for example, evolve. For the social, we know that we do have risk of, not in Canada, of course, on the moon, okay? We may have a risk of social unrest, or not unrest, but I would say people are not going to be happy. We are going to see some places where they're going to increase their salary, some unions that are going to get more salary, higher percentage. However, some other unions, they cannot get enough raising the salary, and at the same time in other non-unionized for example businesses, or those who are not unionized, in this case their salary is not going to increase at all. However, we do have a very high rate of inflation. Again, it can go from cars at 27% higher than last year, to again houses or apartments or rents, for example, at about 20-25% more than again compared with last year. And it can of course be again the food as well, 6-7%. So these are issues that we have now. For technology, if you find anything, of course you always find, you can say yes, we do have this type of positive I would say outcomes. If not, negative. If not, you just write down it doesn't apply, but write something. You can say that yes, we did research, we did think about that. No, we don't have any issue with the technology. For the legal, same thing. You may say that now we look into the laws or regulations or standards that we need for this business, and we found out that no, there is no issue with the legal. I would say there's no legal issue. We're not going to have any change in the regulations or guidelines in the next 5 years or 2 years. And of course, the environment, if there is anything that applies. So here we talk about the risks and opportunities. Okay, perfect. No, last slide. Here it is. This is the strategic management, meaning that again, I gave you an example of a bank that is having a co-op job. They were talking again about hiring someone for co-op, of course, who would be able to look into uh, again customer satisfaction and retaining, and of course getting more customers within this environment. Okay, so for that one, the person, anyone, a research analyst, they have been looking into different factors: political, economic, social, technology, legal, and environment. And then they were looking into the threats and opportunities related to customers. And then they were talking about, okay, these are the data that we got for the customers from these sites. The data shows this. Now you're going to look into the data related to customers' behavior for banking, for political, economic, social, different factors. And then at the end, you're going to come up with some. This is what you have in slide number 9. You look into the findings. When you finish the findings, you are going to do the analysis. So you say how your findings are going to help us to understand and to decide. So once from the data analysis findings we understand, we will go to slide 11. You will go to slide 11. You open it, and you're going to write down what are the actions that you are going to do for the future, for that business, now for its expansion, for starting a business, for again continuing, for hiring someone. It can be any question. The question would be, do we have to hire 100 people, I would say, in a year, until over the year? This may be the PESTLE analysis is a way that you can go. Or am I going to open a business, and then is it a way to go? Same thing. This PESTLE analysis applies to that aspect. So my friends, I want to thank you for again your again for this question. I'm going to of course stop again the recording, and then I'm going to respond to your questions. Okay.